about Taylor Swift? Hi, if you're new here, my name is Spencer, and today I'm going to discuss how social media has influenced the McDonaldization of the music industry and the impacts we see on today's music. I'm focusing specifically on Taylor Swift, one of the most popular and recent cases of this phenomena. To really get an understanding of how her music quality has declined in the face of McDonaldization, we have to go all the way back to 2019. Taylor Swift released her 7th studio album, Lover, under Republic Records after having publicly cut ties with Big Machine Records the year before. This album was highly anticipated, debuting at number 1 on Billboard, selling over 867,000 copies in the first week. This was a marked decline from the 1.2 million first-week sales of her previous album, Reputation, released in 2017. At the time, however, we're at a turning point in the music industry. CDs are not as popular, with most cars beginning to phase out CD players as early as 2018, and vinyl collections have not become a mainstream trend yet. So while her physical sales may have initially dropped, her streams were at the highest they'd ever been, and Lover quickly became the most sold album of 2019, even with a late release date in August. She released 4 singles, including Me, You Need to Calm Down, Lover, and The Man. Through magazines, press interviews, and television appearances, Swift heavily promoted the album prior to and immediately following Lover's release. This was a vastly different approach to marketing compared to the promotion of her latest album, The Life of a Showgirl, where she released several vinyl variants and cassette tapes and utilized social media posts and podcast appearances to promote the album. While she did make a few late-night show appearances, it seems this was less to promote the album, which had already come out, and more to create publicity for herself and her brand. The COVID-19 pandemic of 2020 shifted the social sphere onto the internet, and music, as well as music promotion, had no choice but to follow suit. TikTok became the most used social media platform at the time. According to Business of Apps, TikTok grew from 508 million users at the end of 2019 to 756 million users at the end of 2020. And as of 2024, TikTok has 1.7 billion active users. In July of 2020, only 11 months after the release of Lover, Swift released a surprise album titled Folklore, shocking fans with the shortest turnaround of her career at the time. This album took the internet by storm, with over 1.2 million sales in 2020, according to Rolling Stone. Folklore won Album of the Year award at the 2021 Grammy Awards, among many other accolades. As it was a surprise release, there was no leading single, shifting away from the traditional promotion of songs releasing prior to the album. And 5 months after the release of Folklore, Swift releases a second surprise album, Evermore, a sister album to Folklore. As another surprise release, Evermore also debuted without a leading single. Swift's first 6 albums were created under Big Machine Records, a label that owned the masters to those albums. And when discussing masters, it's important to know that it is the first recording of music from which copies are made for sales and distribution. The owner of the master, therefore, owns the copyright to all formats of the recording, such as digital versions for download or streaming, or physical versions such as CD and vinyl LPs. Scooter Braun, the owner of Big Machine Records, sold Swift masters to Shamrock Firms for $405 million in October of 2020, with the stipend that Braun continued to profit a percentage of royalties. This became a massive internet scandal, with the majority of fans rallying behind Swift who did not agree with the sale. When leaving the label in 2018, Swift attempted to buy the masters for the first 6 albums. However, the label required her to record another 6 in return. Swift declined and signed with Republic Records, a division of Universal Music Group, whom she is still signed with to this day. Her contract with Republic Records allows her to own her masters immediately, and it is under this contract that she announces the Taylor's Version project, where she will re-record and reproduce her first 6 albums, and she's able to do this due to her being the primary songwriter on them. This revolutionary move sparked conversations about artist rights, with many artists also coming forward with their own stories, including Kesha, who purchased her masters in 2025. Swift releases the first Taylor's Version, a re-record of her second studio album Fearless, in April of 2021. She also included From the Vault tracks, previously unreleased songs that had not made it onto the original album. Also in 2021, she re-releases her 4th album, Red. Both albums boasted more sales than the original recordings, with many fans listening to them out of principle for supporting the artist. She used social media exclusively to promote these, again straying away from traditional promotion. This brings us to the Eras Tour and McDonaldization. Now, according to ThoughtCo, McDonaldization, a concept developed by American sociologist George Ritzer, refers to, quote, the particular kind of rationalization of production, work, and consumption that rose to prominence with the late 20th century. The basic idea is that these elements have adapted based on the characteristics of a fast food restaurant: efficiency, calculability, predictability, standardization, and control, and that this adaptation has ripple effects through all aspects of society. Leaning on social media for promotion of media was always going to happen. It just so happens that the 2019 pandemic and subsequent quarantine facilitated the occurrence. In 2022, Swift announced her 10th studio album, Midnights, which was to release in 2022. The main promotion for this album consisted of a TikTok series titled Midnight's Mayhem with Me, where Swift would randomly choose a track and announce the title. Most artists announce a tour alongside the album. Think Sabrina Carpenter's Short and Sweet Tour or Olivia Rodrigo's Guts Tour, and Taylor Swift is no different. She announced the Eras Tour, a compilation tour showcasing songs from each of her 10 albums, and Swift connects this to the Taylor's Version project as a way for her to reclaim control of her music. The tour is very social media friendly, with Swift having different outfit variant combinations for each show, and fans creating sites such as Swift Alert to guess new combinations. The tour takes social media by storm, with fans creating pages and edits specifically for the tour. Many sound bites became a trend online, specifically Oh Hi, the opening mash of music before the show, and Cam, one of her backup dancers, Like Ever, and it quickly became the highest grossing tour in history. Roughly, it grossed about $2.5 billion across 149 shows between March 17, 2023 to December 8, 2024. At the height of this tour, in April of 2024, she released a double album titled The Tortured Poets Department and the Anthology. Fans speculated whether she would add it to the tour. She did. And the potential outfits that would come with. Lots. Also on this tour in 2023, Swift releases 2 more Taylor's Versions re-records of her 3rd and 5th studio albums, Speak Now and 1989, respectively. Both releases are announced by Swift during Eras Tour performances. This leads us into McDonaldization, as all of her production, even older music, sounds similar, with new releases from the album sounding like the music she makes currently, even if it is not the same genre. With trend cycles speeding up due to social media, artists feel as if they have to always be pushing out new material to stay relevant. Swift is a prime example of this. Prior to 2020, she released an album every 2 years on average. In the last 5 years, she has released 10 albums, 4 re-released Taylor's Versions, and 6 original albums, averaging about 2 a year. This is insane. With production having such a quick turnaround, corners are bound to get cut during writing and production. Case in point, The Life of a Showgirl, Swift's most recent release, debuting in October of this year. The reception of this album was low, although highly anticipated. There were 7 vinyl variants announced before the album was released. Swift also announced a behind-the-scenes style movie for this album, and while there were a few minutes of her talking about her inspiration of the album, the majority of the movie was the music video for the album's leading single, The Fate of Ophelia, and lyric videos for the rest of the tracks, of various looping visuals of her posing. This album was marketed as a theatrical Roaring Twenties and Chicago style, full of bangers and hits, with her being shown as the lead showgirl. Instead, this album was a heavily sampled love album dedicated to her fiancé, which did not resonate with many of her fans, who are accustomed to Swift's complex and soulful lyricism. Taylor Swift has also been, up until this point, relatively kid-friendly, with only a few songs openly swearing or being rated as explicit. Now, in almost every song on this album, Swift calls other women bitches, drops several F-bombs, or makes some kind of sexual innuendo. One of the songs, Wood, is entirely composed of sexual innuendos about her fiancé. This artist has been continually praised for in-depth lyricism, and Did You Girl Boss Too Close to the Sun, and I'm Not a Bad Bitch and This Isn't Savage are real, genuine lyrics from the life of a showgirl. But why does this matter? Swift has been demonstrating her McDonaldization with these recent albums, but what do these lyrics mean for her as a brand, celebrity, or artist? I believe that this is an example of the social construction of reality, a sociological concept presented by Peter Berger and Thomas Luckman in 1967, stating that, quote, the meaning of acts, behaviors, and events is not an objective quality of those phenomena, but is assigned to them through social interactions. In short, I believe that Swift is assimilating herself to whatever is trending at the time socially. Right now, the trend of the trad wife and stay-at-home mom are rising in popularity. These are not inherently bad things. Quite the opposite. A stable relationship that allows people the freedom of this is valuable. However, this has never been Swift's brand. The Man, one of the singles from Lover, talks about how she is the money man, the businessman, and is not taken seriously due to her gender. Quote from the song, "I'm so sick of running as fast as I can, wondering if I get there quicker if I was a man. If I was out flashing my dollars, I'd be a bitch, not a baller." She references later on in Midnights, "All they keep asking me is if I'm going to be your bride. The only kind of girl they see is a one night or a wife, the 1950s shit they want from me." Just these short excerpts from her earlier works indicate her distaste for the traditional lifestyle. Now, in Wish List, she says, "I just want you, have a couple kids, got the whole block looking like you. Got me dreaming about a driveway with a basketball hoop. Boss up, settle down, got a wish list, I just want you." Now, I am not saying she is not allowed to want those things now that she has branded herself otherwise. She has stated multiple times that her lyricism is extremely personal to her, and the narrative has changed significantly. Swift is one of the most influential artists in the world right now, and her pushing the narrative of get married and have kids has the potential to start a trend of young girls who idolize her, reducing their goals in life to better fit the lifestyle Swift is pushing. Again, women who want these things in life are a valuable aspect of society. It is only bad if the sole reason they are doing it is to be like Taylor Swift. Swift received extensive backlash at the time of the album's release for this exact reason, alongside her attacking another artist, Charli XCX, with supposed diss track Actually Romantic and her song Cancelled, where she states that she, quote, likes her friends canceled. In reality, she is most publicly friends with Blake Lively, who was canceled for promoting her alcohol company on a press tour for a film about domestic violence, where alcoholism is one of the main causes of domestic violence. In response to the backlash, Swift stated in an interview for Apple Music with Zane Lowe, "If you're mentioning my name or my album title, you're helping." Swift has a net worth of $2.5 billion and was once known as one of the most relatable artists for young women. But the controversy surrounding her latest album and her lack of a response has alienated her. Despite the backlash on her newest album, Swift remains one of the biggest pop stars in the world, holding the record as Spotify's most streamed artist in the platform's history. According to Billboard, the artist brought in over $135 million in revenue during the first week of the Life of a Showgirl's availability. While the trend of McDonaldization and quick turnaround in music is popular now, the quality decline and inevitable increase in backlash from fans has the potential to persuade artists to spend more time perfecting their art. Although Swift is no stranger to criticism, the poor reception from her latest album might inspire her and other artists to slow down and take the time to put the necessary effort to create some of their best works.